Thanks for joining, everyone. So it's me and Caroline here today, talking about news in Naviate Traffic, both news and old stuff. Hopefully something new for you. Thanks everyone for joining. Naviate Traffic 25.2. We're soon going to shift over to removing the dots, not connecting the dots, removing the dots. So we're going to shift to 252 version. And that next one is going to be 253. And that's why, or because people and even ourselves don't understand our numbering. 25.2 has been released, but it has also been released as 24.12. and 23.22. So the last number in this series are the same. So imagine it's a 0, 25.02, 24.12, 23.22, because it's a first and second and third generation. Yeah, hopefully you grasp it. We're going to try to get better next time. Next version is going to be called 253. It is going to be released soon. For Civil 3D 2022, and it's then going to be called 32. Okay, so some of the news. Firstly, I'm going to say we run live. Me and Caroline, we're bold people. Anything can happen. Of course, we run things through in the preparations, but anything can happen when we run live. We think it's more challenging. It's more fun for us. It's more fun for you to watch something that is live than in a video. But of course, as you know, you probably have crashes once in a while in Civil or Excel or whatever you run. So it might happen to us as well. So I'm going to look into signs, news in signs and sign holders. Caroline is going to show you the news in markings later on. So just highlights. Schematic sign holder section view is one thing we're going to look at. Either have a fixed height on your pole or no pole at all. We're going to look at the sign elevation check in section view. It's new. Some things are maybe were new during this year, we can say, the past year. So everything is not brand new for this version. This also means that we can display the surface in the section view. We've added the scale and size change of multiple sign holders. So there's no singing. And we've added a new direction sign workflow where we can have the signs, direction signs in the current file. We've also added a block variant change where we now can replace a letter in the layer name instead of only adding the letter combination at the end of the name. This is important for the Swedish standard SP11 layer standard, where you actually exchange a character instead of adding characters at the end. So when it comes to the schematic sign holder section view, we are able to project or set the height in a schematic way. So the left one we see here is a real elevation. And the second one is a 1 meter fixed height. And the last one, the rightmost one, has no pole. They all actually have the same settings for 3D and the same elevation possibilities, but in the section view they are displayed in this way. due to different requests from different customers. So no matter the elevation, this one will change by elevation, this one will always be 1, this one will always be 0, no matter of the height you insert. And the direction signs, we're going to look at a new button that exists here. Pick your direction sign from your drawing instead of saving it to the folder. Going to come to that later on. And the block variants. Just an image of earlier we could only create a block variant by adding layer suffix. The N was added at the end of the layer. Now we can replace, for instance, position number 9 with an N instead of an X or whatever it is. This is, so block variant, it is a way to create new signs from existing sign blocks where you want to have a different layer name. For instance, if you want to make an existing sign black and white. I mean, if the status for the sign is existing, you don't want to maybe show the coloring. This means we only need to have one setup of signs, and then you say which variant you want to create, and we modify the layers for you, instead of us supplying 4 or 5 variants of each sign on your computer. Okay, so let's over to the live stuff. Just going to find my cheat sheet. There it is. Okay. Come on. There. So, I'm actually going to start by showing some of our new goodies in the new version. Maybe you have seen this already. One of our new feature is the objects on dialog in Naviate, where we can turn on and off surfaces. So the red triangles here are my datum or terrace surface from my corridor. If I want to turn off my existing ground, I can also turn off my corridor if I want to. This is all in our new visibility manager, objects on off.
Before you continue, can you turn off your camera just so we make sure we get enough bandwidth for the presentation?
I will do that. So there, you've seen me, enough of me already. Okay, so another thing I just want to highlight as well is, so let's zoom to the correct position, a new feature that we added in our landscape/site Naviate, dynamic line sets. So I just want to, because this one ties in so great in this demonstration. So I have created 2D lines here for my traffic islands. So I'm going to pick one of those and I'm going to create a line set. And now I realize I did not shift to the correct version of my setup, because I am going to mix between Swedish and English setups today. So I'm going to turn over to my English setups. Now you saw that one as well, how quickly we can do this. So one more try. Now running in English setup. I'm going to pick traffic island with surface. This one will project this 2D line to my surface, my corridor top surface. It's then going to make an offset and relative elevation and another offset inside to create, if I zoom can actually do, I think I'm going to do apply and then zoom in a little bit. You will see I have two different surfaces, one with asphalt and one with concrete. So those are created using these settings in here. There is a webinar of these features from the landscape features in more detail. I can actually create solids also of the curb and on the asphalt layer if I want to, but I won't look at that one now. I will only show that I can now copy this one. So I will select one of my lines in that traffic island, and I'm going to copy it to the other, and I'm going to accept that rotation, and then we can see that it is also there as well. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to, I know Caroline, I'm intruding into your stuff, but before I do anything with the signs, I'm going to create a pedestrian crossing here, over there, and I want to have the direction there, and my dialog appears here, and I can select the setting here, but I'm just going to pick this one because it looks so good projected to my corridor top. And there we go. So from this, I'm going to start inserting sign holders. So I'm going to pick a sign here. Just to say, these UK signs, I know we have UK visitors here today. So these UK signs are under production. No, it's not finalized, but it's under production, work in progress. So I'm going to pick this one, and I am going to insert it using my sign holder template, one sign. So I'm going to pick that one. I am going to insert it in the center of the arc there, and I'm then going to direct it there, and I'm going to place it here, and we now see that it's suggesting the angle 88. Now I'm going to accept that one because just I want to show you how to fix this if you have accidentally rotated it in a way you didn't want to. So I'm going to take my properties window. I'm going to look at the sign holder. Let's see if I can see the rotation. It's 88. So my first thing here is do not edit here. It does not work. We have the rotation here. We have copy sign holder, move sign holder, rotate. So if I use that one, what's actually going to happen is that it first turns on pick style. I'm going to tell you why soon. So I'm picking that one. I'm picking the base point, which should be the one there. And I'm now going to do the negative angle that I saw, minus 88. Now I'm back. You could also snap on the foot here if you have it available. So this is the best way. So what happened there? One very important thing here now is that if I now move the sign holder, this is how I do it. But as soon as I go to select as individual, I can now move the sign itself. So do not move the sign holder in this position, only when you have here. And that's why we have move sign holder here. So if you want to move the sign, you can move it here now. So let's see. Back to my notes there. I'm going to add a sign. I'm going to use the Signholder manager, pick the same Signholder again, and I am going to say that I now want to add a sign to that one. I'm going to pick this one here and insert it. And I can now snap or put it anywhere I want to, or the easiest thing is to say below. And if it's only one sign, it's going to put it below the one sign that is in there. Now notice that we in 3D, we see the same arrows as we see in the section view. These arrows shows the clearance of the sign. So we can see that this sign has 1.8 meters clearance. And we have tools to manipulate those. I'm just gonna, actually I'm gonna look at these things here instead here. I'm gonna look at the clearance later on. Important thing to know is if I now change the elevation of this sign, elevation top to 4, I'm gonna see that that sign moves, but the Signholder is still there. And that's why we, some versions ago, added adjust height to highest sign. So if I click that one, you will see it automatically turns to 4. If I change it to, let's see, the top, I can edit the top or the bottom or the clearance, no matter which. We can see that that one now moves back to 3 meters. So let's see what happens if I now want to have a sign on the other side. So the workflow then is I pick the sign. So I'm going to pick the opposite sign. I'm going to insert it. And I want it on the same elevation as this one, but I want it on the other side. So I'm actually going to snap to insert of that one. So now it's on that side. But what I do then afterwards is I change the invert. So I invert the sign, and now it's on the other side. And that's why it also pivots around the top of that one. And if you don't have adjust to highest sign, you might have a strange effect here where this sign moves to a different place because we pivot around the top of the Signholder. If I now go and look at my 3D view, I should actually turn over to selectors group, pick that one, and come on. Go to the object viewer, and you will see I have the signs on the 2 different sides. So then looking at the so let's see there, yes, looking at the area here, I am going to insert a new sign. We're going to look at the new different methods. So what I used previously now was the sign that displays the correct elevation in the section view. Now, if I want to use one of the others here, so I have 1 meter pole in section view. So no matter the height of the sign holder, let's insert this one there. And I will place this one freely, turn off the snap, put it there, rotate it there, I do 0. And as you see, as soon as I select it, I actually see what it actually looks like. But as soon as it's deselected, it's displayed like this. So this is the schematic view. So let's have a look at why this happens. So when we want to, we can click additional settings, and then we have all the logic in the background. that we don't have to do every time. So if you have schematic view turned on, if you have height, no, that one, Y scale from height, then this is going to be your fixed height, schematic height. And you also notice that I have the terrain option here, so I can turn on terrain if I want to see it always or only when I'm in the schematic view. Now let's look at if I now instead take the sign no pole in section view. This one looks similar. It has schematic view. It does not have a Y scale from height, so I'm not going to follow that one. It has a circle as the pole. So even though this one is also 3 meters high, I insert it and I place it somewhere near, maybe there. You see, I now hold the bottom of the sign and I set the 0. So this is how it works. And as soon as I pick it, you notice that we now see the full sign holder, and I can move it like this. The only downside here is that the signs, when I add them, they're going to be moving upwards. Here they stay where they are, but here they move upwards. So it could have a bit strange effect when you add them, but you're going to keep having that elevation. Okay, so over to checking sign elevations. And I do that in the function here, check sign elevation. So let's zoom in a little bit on this one, maybe there. And then we do check sign elevation, and it should be this one here, number 2. I'm going to pick back and forth there so I see it. So what we changed here, previously, the only option we had was to pick in plan or 3D, same. But now, if I pick the section view, when I pick the sign to check the elevation for, I will be able to pick the reference point in section view. And the white line here now is a section view from my surface. Which means if I would have had a curbstone, I would be able to see the curbstone. Now, this white line here, that's where my ditch starts. And as this is a Civil 3D road, it actually has a breakpoint in the line here somewhere there. So I'm going to pick that one and make sure I see it. Okay, there. So that's going to be, as you see, exactly where that one is. I'm just going to pick zoom here to make sure I get the rendering back. There. So intentionally, I placed this sign a little bit close. So this is the sign holder I am checking, and which sign I'm checking. We can see the reference surface and the rule template. So we have different rules for different languages. So I'm now going to try this one. Above footway is one rule. I'm going to try to get the rendering back there. It's my machine that keeps changing. So this is the distance check. The distance check in this rule template says we need to have a minimum of 75 centimeters from the reference point and a maximum of 999 meters, so practically no maximum distance. And the red number here says we are violating that one because we're only 30 centimeters away from that one. And that's why this number now is displayed here, and I can click Move Sign Holder. And when I do that, this sign holder will move. In here, the sign holder will actually stay because we have a reference point there, and the section will move. So it's basically the same, but it just works a little bit different. So I do move sign holder, it moves, that one moved. I'm going to reset the rendering again, and you now see it's in the guardrail that I have there. So if I want to move it another couple of decimeters or so, I can do that again. Move sign holder. You see it moves. I need to change this one. Now you see it's on the other side there. So also, if I now want to keep editing, maybe I want to edit this one as well, I can do the same. I can either pick or I can change here. I'm going to go to number 3, the reference point. I'm going to be able to pick the reference point. And I didn't turn it on. There is that one. And I have the same rule there. Move sign holder is going to move that. If I want to move the elevations, it's going to move the signs upwards and so on. Okay. So I think I'm taking a lot of time, Caroline, right? As usual. Any questions we need to answer, or are you answering all of them?
No questions so far. So it's clear.
Clear as mud.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to reset this drawing, restart it once again, because I'm now going to shift over to Swedish settings to show some of the last rules or things here. So once again, I'm going to go to my profile setup. This is also quite new command where we allow you to change between different setups, which also actually allows you, if you use this command, you can actually set up your own Naviate startup from your own other startup. So you don't have to use ours. Reach out to us if you need more information about this. I'm going to turn off my datum surface again. And now I am going to insert a portal so we can see that one as well. I'm going to do some stuff with that one. So I'm going to pick the Swedish setting for a truss portal, fackverk. I'm going to pick one simple sign to insert. I'm going to pick on the right side. Actually, it's especially if I want to pick a long alignment, it's basically the right one that works. The left one does not, or center works, but right is the only one that actually works if I want to align it to an alignment. Otherwise, it's going to flip in a strange way. You need to place it manually if you use left side. Okay, so I'm going to pick it here. I'm going to accept the rotation. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to make sure to enter 0 as rotation. It seems as if I forgot to set the reference surface. Yes, I did. There. And now we can see that it does appear here. Actually, I can zoom into that one so we see it better. There. And back to the Signholder manager. No, actually, what I'm going to do now, I am going to create a direction sign. I'm going to insert it here. Oops, there it was. Everything is on another screen right now. So I'm just going to create a standard direction sign, and I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to accept it. There it is. This is the one we're going to use with the new workflow. I go to my Signholder manager. Previously, we said when you wanted to add a direction sign, what you did was you actually exported that one into one of these folders, exported direction signs here. So, but in this case now instead, I'm going to use this button here as I have it in my drawing. So I'm going to pick it there. I'm going to make sure the size is 1, and then I'm going to insert it. And now I can drag it to where I want to have it. I'm going to insert it in the center, and then it appears there. And we now also notice that we do see these clearance arrows, and especially in portals, they are important because it checks the shortest distance between the reference surface and the sign and displays that position. So this is the shortest elevation for this one. And it now says 5.8. Maybe my rule says I need 5.9 or something. And if I edit that one, it updates it there. So we can change the clearance. We can say it's for 5 meters, you see it goes down 5.9, like that. There it is. Okay, so before I end this one, I'm gonna add also a 3D block. For instance, for our, so let's see, where is it? 3D signs, there it is. I should have brought my stronger glasses. So I'm going to pick a traffic light. This one looks 2D. Let's see what happens. So I have the 2D version of that one here. I place it. And we actually have a 3D block in the background of this one. So this is a 3D block, as you see, even though I have a 2D block here. And I have another block in 2D displaying where that one is. It's kind of a multi-view block, but in the Naviate Traffic way, because otherwise we cannot display things as we want to. Okay, wrap it up. So we've seen the clearance there. Yes, I want to also mention the way of changing stuff. We've also moved, as you see, we've moved changed the appearance down here. We've also moved the section scale to the first window or in here. So if I change the section scale to 3, you notice everything updates here. And also notice that we now have edit multiple sign holders, which means I can edit all or a selection and modify the settings for scale and width and so if I want to. So very quickly edit all of them. So my last thing before I hand over to you, Caroline, is I would like to show how do we treat layering. For instance, if I want to have the Swedish signs layerings in here. So it looks like I did something in backwards order. I think I need to come back with that one. I did some, this is work in progress, and that's what we said. So I need to do some tweaking here. I probably did things in a wrong order with the beta version. So I'll be back with the SP11 layers soon. Over to you, Caroline.
Thank you.
Area markings. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to talk about the area markings. So I'm going to share my entire screen. So let's see. There we go. So now you see my Civil 3D. So just a few minutes, it's a couple of things that I want to show you about the area markings. If we have time, I was going to show you more about the markings, but we'll see where I can end up. So the area markings is where we can create markings that fill an area. So you need to have a closed area that you're going to fill with this type of marking. So, and what we changed or updates that we've done during the last year is that when we select a closed area, you can select a point 1 and point 2 as usual, but we can also select a polyline or an arc. So these two, polyline's been around. I think arc is fairly new, but depending on what type of object you have. So in this case, actually everything here is arcs, or it's a polyline with arcs in it, and the direction line that I have is an arc. So I'm going to select an arc down here, and then I'm going to select my arc entity. What we also updated is that once you've selected a line like this, you get to select direction. Because previously it depended on where you clicked on the linear object that determined the direction. So now you get a question. Is this the direction you want, or do you want to reverse it? So in my case right now, I want to reverse it. And once you've done that, you get to accept, and then you come into the dialog box. All our other marking functionalities automatically show a preview. So while you have the dialog up, you can see the preview in the background. Area marking doesn't do that simply because sometimes it's too dense a pattern, so it will slow down your file enormously. So we decided that in this case, you need to activate the auto preview, and then you can see the preview in the background. So if you want to see the preview, then you activate it, and you can see it there. So, and I'm just going to hit OK, and then I get my marking in this case. So in this case, that's what we changed, that we had this one as an arc. We can also update this, but something to remember, if I update, if I move this one, remember to grab your linear object as well. So you need to extend that one so it actually extends the whole area in that case. And if you do that, I can either update by using update markings, or I can click on the button and just run the function again. As soon as I hit auto preview, it's going to update. So just remember, you need to move both of these objects I want it to be. This, of course, also works with, so I'm just going to activate the projection as well. So you can see that we actually projected up to my surface as hatches like that. This, of course, also works with polyline. So if I move over to my other side over here, this is just a straight polyline, no arcs, and a polyline in the middle. Works the same way. Select my object, but in that case, I need to select the polyline, select the line, reverse the direction, and then I come in here. What we also did, if I activate my preview again, we squared off the hatches. So previously, our hatches, didn't I untick it? Yeah, I did. So our hatches looked like this. They actually filled all the way out to the corner. So what we did in this update is that we added a setting, and this one is automatically activated right now, where we use 90-degree corners. And that means that our hatches actually square off where they're filled in. So that one, you should just recognize that this makes more sense, that it should actually be like that. So that is one of the settings that we added to it. The other thing that we changed also in here is how we, I'm going to move my zooming a little bit so we can see it. So we changed how we handle the tip inside our area marking. So our area marking here, I'm just going to do my auto preview. We can do a fill corner. The fill corner is the edge, or the pointed tip. That is our fill corner. And we made a change in here where we can do this by width. So you can see the preview up here, how it's calculating. So it's actually filling the tip until it ends, until it encounters a specific width. But we can also say by length. So in that case, it's going to fill the tip until it's a specific length. So I can say that, well, it should be 3 units in this case, depending on the unit in your file. and then it's going to fill the tip until it's 3 units long. So just depending on how you want the tip to be created, you have 2 different options in here. Of course, if you don't want to have a tip at all, you can just do none, and it's just not going to do any tip for it. And these settings, this settings in here, that one is actually stored in the template. So if you have existing templates that you want to update, change the tip to by length instead, and then you save the template. And you get updated templates, and our templates are updated here as well. So those were the news that we have when it comes to our area marking. I just wanted to answer a question, another question that we got right now. If you have any questions about the markings or about the signs, feel free to get them in now, since we're almost at time. But I just wanted to answer a question that we usually get that we perhaps don't show enough. When you do line markings, we have a lot of different settings in here, and we have a setting called from station to station. So in my case right now, when I have an intersection here, you'll notice I get the order preview directly. I can say it shouldn't be to end. It should actually stop a bit before. And that way the marking is just going to end there. And if I now, and this one shouldn't be an edge line, it should be a middle line. There we go. And if I've done this, if I said to station there, and I start the same command again, and I click on the same line, in my case this is an alignment, it's actually going to suggest to start at that point where I ended last time. So I can say then that not a warning line, let's do a, yeah, this is not going to make sense, but you'll see where I'm going with this. So I can actually say, okay, 2 stations should not be to the end here as well. So I'm just going to say it should just be across the intersection. So yes, you can cross this intersection. That's not my intention. Click OK. I get that marking, and then I can start it again, and it's going to start where I end the last one. So it's remembering the setting from the last one so that you can actually sort of continue with your design. We assume that you're going to do markings all along the line that you have there. So we get that in there. And this, of course, also works if you need to split it in the middle. So if I do a line marking and I click on an existing line, my polyline there, I can say that, well, this one shouldn't be to the point that I had before because I have my area marking here in the middle. So I can change it with edit as well. So yeah, it shouldn't be from station, it should be from station there. And you can, of course, also change these values, how you want them to be on your own. So that's a question that we tend to get that we maybe not show enough in our functionality. Something else, maybe I have 3 minutes until Thomas comes in and finishes with the layer. So for cross markings, if I'm going to do a stop sign, I'm going to do a give way. So we can do this at an angle. So in my case right now, I want the line to be at an angle there, and then the direction should be perpendicular. So we have it perpendicular there. And then I want to change my cross marking or my give way. So it's just going to fill in the values here, but you have the option here of start. So start there means that if I set a value, you'd notice that my marking is shifted. So it's basically along the line that I drew, where do I want the pattern to start? So in this case, I mean, I know that depending on what I'm going to set this to, I get different sort of values in this angle. So you can shift these around a little bit to make sure that you get the display that you're after. And then it's going to update. So just remember that you can do these sort of settings inside here. So everything comes from the template. But you can also change these as you go. So it doesn't have to be exactly as the template every time. So we have these edit capabilities inside this dialog as well. So the templates are good, and we like the templates, and we have them for all our different languages. But just remember that sometimes you sort of need to fiddle with them to make sure that you get they actually look good in your presentation, depending on your goal with the presentation, of course, what you want to do. One more thing also on this topic, if I do an edge line, again, I'm going to do a line marking for my curve here. I'm going to do an edge line. It's going to be on top of the line, but in this case, I actually want it to be offset. So I have that option here as well. So I can say that should be 0.3. I get an offset. We don't recommend to do too big of an offset because that's going to distort the line. But in my case right now, it's just going to be 0.3. It's just going to be offsetted from that line. So it's just an easy way of making sure you get these lines placed where you want them to be without having to draw a new line that's offsetted. So you can use the lines that you already have. And all of these values are determined up here. So you have your preview at the top where you can see what's actually going to happen. So those were the updates that I had. And we have about 10 minutes left. Are you ready to show the last one, Thomas?
Yes, I am. So yeah, actually, what I did was that when I changed the versioning, I changed to the delivered version and not to the beta version, and that's why I didn't get the layers that we were working on. So this is not out. No one has this but us. So what we're looking at is how do we make sure to get the layerings into the system. SP11. How do we get our layers to follow the standard SP11? So we already have a functionality where we can rename layers to parts or full of the description. So we can see that this layer here that says road sign symbol layer blue, that one should actually, according to the SP11 system, be on this layer here. And it's placed behind the hashtag or after the hashtag in the description. So we have a layering function where we can run rename layers. And if I do that and say, take all my VM layers, use a delimiter, yes. So the starting character is the hashtag, and there's no ending character. It is now going to rename all those to the SP11 layering system, and it then added the clear text there instead. So anytime I want to rename back, I go to rename layers and now say rename everything that starts with T dash. There, and that's one. And then we're back to the clear text layering. So very simple way to move back and forth between the layering. So this is work in progress. Okay. No other questions or?
We got a question. So I thought I would, about the naming. So I thought I would just share my screen again. So if you stop sharing yours, I will, just to show you how it looks. Come on, there we go. So I switched over to the UK because I know that you, Martin, are UK based. So I just want to show you how it looks in the UK version of Naviate. So you asked about the naming convention. The UK template that we have for line markings actually have a naming convention already built in. This can be changed. This can be created how you would like it to be. But these are the names that we have inside the UK part of Naviate. So, and it's entirely changeable. So it's all about naming. So if I want to change this, I can actually save it, and I can save it to whatever name I like. So it's a very manual work. But once you've got it in there, it's stored, and you can save it and you can share it to your other colleagues because these are stored as text files. So it's a job to do, definitely, but you can change them to however you like them to be. There was also a question about the editable parameters in properties. Not that we have right now. Right now, for editing, it's opening this dialog that we do when we do all our edits inside here. Always possible, but that's how we built the functionality right now. So we're gonna do. So I just wanted to show you, and same thing with cross marking and area marking. Let's see area marking. So just so you see what we have inside here. So we have different chevron and different hatch markings for the UK market as well. So we have different catalogs for it. So I just wanted to show you, and I know that we will probably be in touch more about these questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact us.
Thank you very much for attending. Any questions, as Caroline said, or suggestions, you're welcome to contact us, or maybe use if you look at the help button in Naviate, you have the ideation portal where you can add your ideas as well. Okay, great. Thank you. See you next time.